Yo, parish orphans and retrogrades. Today, I have a special guest, Dr. Edmund Mazza, here with me to discuss on the 25th anniversary of the death of Malachi Martin, important Catholic of the late 20th century, important Catholic priest, Father Martin. And he has a mysterious death 25 years ago today that we can talk about some. And he has interesting work and interesting life. A guy, Dr. Mazza, that knows where the bodies are buried, as they say. What do you say? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, well, dead men tell no tales.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is
That's what.
interesting, coincidence perhaps that he died about 11 months before the Vatican revealed the third secret, or 3A.
Right, right, right. Very, very coincidental because of the fact that dead men can tell no tales. Yeah, when you say 3A, refer to, I think a lot of people think of it in this set of terms, but the three-part Vatican Fatima secret goes. We usually say there's a textual component and then a visual component and then a textual component. So
Right.
1A is vision of hell. 1B is what we call, I think on TNT, the explanation. Hey, this is hell you saw where the souls of poor sinners go. 2A is the vision of global conflict in Russia, right? 2B is here's how the world wars are going to work. The text that went along with it. 3A and 3B were both to be hidden until the year 1960. John the 23rd kept them hidden. And so 3A is what we think got revealed, basically the visual that Sister Lucy described, Mary describing to her, of Bishop dressed all in white being assassinated or maybe assassinated. But we still say that we lack 3B, the explanation of what this means. That's what you meant by 3A, right, Ed?
Yes, precisely.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're on the same page there. Yeah. So he died 25 years ago, which was 99. And yeah, less than a year before they would reveal the third secret of Fatima.
Yeah, I remember it very distinctly. There was, when President Kennedy got shot the same day, C.S. Lewis died, and also, what was the third guy? Uh,
November 22nd, 1963.
yeah, was
I
it
didn't.
Bertrand Russell or some famous?
That
Anyway,
sounds right. Yeah. Yeah.
but I
That sounds.
remember uh, July 1999 very well because there was a certain trifecta then. I lost my mother on July 10th, and then I guess maybe a day or two before Malachi Martin died, JFK Jr. died in that plane crash. So very distinctly remember that period of time.
Yeah. Would you describe for us why the secret was hidden before we go into it?
Sure. Well, Our Lady wanted it to be revealed at the latest by 1960, because then it would be, when Sister Lucia asked her, she said it was because it would be more understandable at that time. But John the 23rd decided not to reveal it, even though the whole Catholic world was waiting. I mean, my mother, I may have mentioned this on the show before, but my mother said it was even the butt of jokes. Her cousins came up to her and said,
Yeah.
Mary, Mary, we found out what the third secret is. And she says, what was it? What was it? And they said, oh, it was the bill for the Last Supper. So,
Right. Right.
you know, so, but, and then of course, when he opened the Vatican Council, he famously said, oh, we're not going to listen to these prophets of doom and
Doom.
gloom.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. The prophets of doom. That's very strange for any sitting pope to refer that way to the seers of any of the Vatican approved apparitions. And he was
Yeah.
just intent on, I guess, maligning them, right? They're prophets of doom. I want to bring this exciting new Vatican council. So does that automatically mean that the third secret was about Vatican II? Well, no, but it means that its tone was probably not aligned with the tone that John the 23rd wanted to affect in his new pontificate or something, right?
Yeah, it didn't really fit with the 60s sunshine and rainbows.
Right. Right. And of course, a lot of trads think more than just not fitting with sunshine and rainbows, that the third secret of Fatima was actually some sort of warning about the council itself. And it's speculation. Speculation is as speculation does, but we're not going to do that today. I just want to, I mean, we're going to do a little bit of reasonable speculation about Malachi Martin, the man. Is it Malachi or Malachi? I never know how to pronounce his name.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
I'd go with Malachi myself. I don't know.
Well, I want to talk to you about Father Martin's. There's a nice middle way. Father Martin's mysterious death less than a year before the Vatican, namely Cardinal Bertone, was kind of the main messenger of the third secret as it was delivered in May of 2000.
June,
Oh,
I
June.
think.
Sorry, June of 2000. They finally delivered it, at least half the secret, and it was really this Cardinal Bertone who has a whole long, interesting story with regard to the Fatima secret itself. He was the main one. It wasn't Ratzinger, who was the CDF at the time, who you'd expect to present it. Well, is it your theory, Ed, that Father Martin's death did he have an accident? Like, did he fall off a toilet or something? I haven't looked at this in many years. How did he
Yeah,
die? Or fall down stairs? Something like that. Maybe I'm thinking Back to the Future. It was suspicious.
yeah. I mean, it was a fall of some kind, and it was kind of suspicious. Um, and again, given his track record of what he accused the Vatican of, or yeah, anything is possible, right? I mean, went beside, windswept house. Obviously, he goes into his allegations. I mean, a couple of years ago, you did the video on the four things Malachi Martin got right, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and I did a book club with my friend, quite frankly, on Windswept House on his channel.
and Father Gruner had had some comments from Father Malachi Martin in the late 1990s in the Fatima Crusader, again alleging that there's Satanism going on in the Vatican. Um, and so, yeah, perhaps you've heard of Robert Morrow. He is a man who knew Father Malachi Martin and is coming out with a book,
Yep.
hopefully soon. I believe he's got a Give, Send, Go page where he's trying to get people to help support that project.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Is he? I think I might be getting him mixed up with he's an opponent of the one I have in mind of Father Martin. What? Tell us about Mr. Morrow.
Yeah, so Mr. Morrow, if I remember correctly, actually produced a documentary about Father Martin. Was it Hostage to the Devil? I think that was the name of
Yeah,
the
that's it.
video, based on a book which I believe Father Martin wrote called Hostage to the Devil. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Morrow suffered something physically, a physical attack, which he lost him the use of his right eye, if I'm not mistaken. So, once you try to, combat evil, you there are some scars that could happen to you. But from the interviews I've seen him do on YouTube, I understand he's getting close to finishing his book where he wants to refute the calumnies against Father Martin. I mean, there's a lot of them under this. I mean, everything from accusations of sleeping with other man's wife to being an agent for the Mossad to, a number of other things.
Right. There are lots. Yeah. Yeah, Agent of Mossad, Opus Dei, which is often kind of taken to be the same thing, adulterer. What was his status with regard to the Jesuits? Because he had this sort of free to roam hall pass. allegedly given to him by the Jesuits, and he was just living kind of like a bachelor in New York City, the way it's told.
Well, it was Paul VI who, through a rescript, gave him a dispensation or whatever it was that he needed to no longer be an active Jesuit. Of course, he was still a priest. I believe he still said mass privately on a daily basis. But he, as you say, he lived on 63rd Street on the east side of Manhattan. But again, a lot of people don't know this. Apparently, to support himself, he would clean greasy, the thing you fry donuts or French fries in, and he would clean them during the day. And at night, he drove a taxi, apparently.
Right.
Very mysterious figure. I mean, there's stories that he was, in fact, I think Morrow's book will say that it's more than stories. He did work behind the Iron Curtain in the 1950s
Right.
to keep the Catholic faith alive in the Eastern European communist countries.
Right.
And I believe the book will reveal that he actually was consecrated a secret bishop, which was a rumor that's been swirling over the years.
Yes, it is. So
And
do you
yeah,
buy these? Do you buy Morrow's account?
I kind of do. I mean, I look forward to reading the book, but from what I've seen from the interviews, it feels right. It sounds like it makes sense. And then Robert Moynihan of Inside the Vatican, he's done a couple of shows with Father Charles Murr on the subject of Father Malachi Martin. Father Murr
Mhm.
knew him in Manhattan when they were both in the archdiocese there. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Moynihan who has heard both sides of the story. Moynihan got
Hmm.
a manuscript or a long letter from the man who used to be in the 1960s in the Vatican. Was he representing, was it Life magazine or Time magazine? And he's the one that Martin is accused of committing adultery with his wife. But anyway, from what I've read, I think that Martin is innocent of the charges and probably was consecrated a bishop. But I again, I don't know that for a fact.